All right, it's 4 o'clock on May 25th. I call a meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order. First action would be roll call. Cindy?
Ed Schachner,
Present.
Sean Anderson, Bob Long, Kathy Leaf,
Present.
Kara Cook,
Present.
Tim Hall, Paul Burning,
Present.
Rick Otino, Bob Fiedler, Dave Osnes, Scott Counter,
Present.
Dan Hansen,
I'm here.
Scotty Ard,
Present.
Greg Telejohn,
Present.
David Peterson, Paulette Anderson,
Present.
Judy Achterhoff is not here, Shelley Tomschick, and Bill Peavy.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Okay, next action item would be approval of minutes from Tuesday, April 27th. Are there any additions or corrections? Supervisor Ard.
There are corrections.
Okay. With no additions or corrections, those will stand approved as printed. Public comment, is there anybody here from the public that wishes to make a comment on items on or off the agenda? Anybody from the public that wishes to make a comment? And the third time, anybody from the public who wishes to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. Business items, strategic planning session, issue identifications, and I will turn it over to Administrator Witt.
And I will promptly turn it over to Yang Yi. So she's going to guide us through the session this evening.
All right, welcome back. We had a very festive session today already, and now to our supervisors. So what I'm going to do is just present all the data that we collected so far, and hopefully we can do some clustering and some themes around what we have found out. So, any questions before I get started? Okay. Isn't that beautiful? I found that online. I found that online. This one, that first photo. Eric wanted to go there if it was in St. Croix. I figured it was relevant to the county and the messages that we are hearing from the citizens and also from all of you. So here we are again. We've done the kickoff, the SWOT, the community SWOT. Now we are here at the board issue identification. So wanted to just show that. I'm going to do very high level. If you want me to talk about something a little bit more, let me know. We have it all laid out. So I'm going to go through the strengths of the three different focus groups that we've had: supervisors, department heads, and citizens. And as you can see, you have some sheets already that on your the table as well. But it's just a copy of this plus additional comments that didn't make the top 5 or 10 of the group. Okay, so supervisors. Oh, yep.
Talking with the citizen panel, was that survey, or would we go out and actually talk to folks in different areas within the county?
The citizen panel was the collected names that you guys gathered together, and it was a very structured and focused group. There is the part about the community survey that we did also as a SWOT, and I'll present that too. Right now we're just talking about the 3 focus groups that we did. So, again, supervisors, looking at your top focused on strengths. What did you feel St. Croix County, what were the strengths of St. Croix County? And it's good administration board, a good workforce, good HHS, good financial management, resources, amenities, location, proximity to Twin Cities, resiliency to challenges, good highways, growth, steady and consistent growth. And then, as you can see, the 2 other sections, department heads, great knowledge, skilled staff, customer service, financial strength. So as you can start to see that I started to cluster a little bit for you. And you can see the red is somewhat around like workforce, talent, employees, administration. You start to see the blue is around, you know, financial strength, fiscal soundness. And then the green on here, you start to see excellent location, and you can see it through the different themes. So if they didn't have a color, it's because it wasn't in other areas, and I'm not quite sure how to categorize them. You guys can help categorize those items. So again, you can read some of these yourself, but I'm going to go through the citizen panel. Which I know a lot of you care to, you know, to hear what they have to say. So again, they mention professional staff, good quality employees, good management leadership, the fiscal soundness, natural resource, rural preservation, parks, nature, and trails, quality of life is good. These are all things that they're celebrating about this county. Highway, road, infrastructure well maintained, growth and opportunity, low crime, and the county website was some strengths that they wanted to make sure this made their top 10 list. Weaknesses, again, the supervisors, all of you are on the one category, and then I compare of the other ones. Housing, technology, workforce competition with Twin Cities needing more staff, communication with citizens and vice versa, financial upkeep, tax levy, rate of expansion, budget too high, and then the other areas, mental health services, no night court, lack of public transportation. Department heads, what you'll see about them is similar to some of your areas is technologies, land use zoning with regard to environment, workforce, and you might not even categorize that way. So just so you know, I categorized it kind of based off of some of my assumptions, but you guys may categorize and cluster them very differently than I do, but just so you know, and that's totally okay. And then you'll see workforce retention, employee recruitment is a weakness. Communication, internal and external, is a weakness for department heads. Limited follow-through with plans, political influence, division, and agendas. An east-west divide, culture, income, and services, space needs. For the citizen, what they felt were weaknesses is housing development and zoning. And in terms of housing development zoning is more too much development. Is what they're saying. Broadband is an issue. Plans not follow through, no metrics, budget allocations, why increased taxes, political polarization with the board, government board, outdated ideas, practices, and knowledge, water management protection, and Sheriff's Department lack of enforcement, ... It just means it didn't fit onto this slide. There was more to be said, and it is in your, it's in the packets that I gave you, okay?
Yang Yi, I think Supervisor Hall might have had a question there. Did you still have one?
I'm usually a loud person, so it's, back to, I just had a quick question on the housing development zoning. They think that there's too much development in St. Croix County?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, sorry. So we'll go on to the next. And you can hear, again, we're in your packets are the full comments. So we're gonna, when we do clusters, you'll have all their comments. Even some have front and back sheets, comments to it. Opportunities. So again, we have the supervisors, protect natural resources, ARP funds, affordable housing, broadband, work from home, more growth as a result from that, mental health, transportation needs, operation and cross-training efficiency, attracting more businesses. Department heads is probably the other two spaces you want to hear from is department heads increase tourism, grow parks and recreational activities, improve natural resources in response to natural disasters, ARP funds, affordable housing, technology, employee public engagement, leadership thinking, community support services, leverage technical and four-year university, population growth, increased tech space, and location are all opportunities. Citizen panel, encourage, educate, and mandate protocols that protect our water and soil. You will hear that as a consistent theme throughout, whether it's with the citizens or in the community SWOT survey that we did. Zoning smart land use of housing, efficient, sustainable environmentally and financially. Issue sanitary permits and land use permits faster. Coordinate pathways, systems, biking, walking, ATV, UTV. Those are really important for them. Parks and recreational opportunities. Mental health facility, more social worker, not PO style for children with behavioral issues. So social workers that are trained and behavioral mental health is what they're looking for. Transit system services, modernize county board governance process, unused property assets. And what they mean by this is that and maybe you guys know more than I do, but the comment is there's a lot of county property that are just not being used or not used properly. So is what the comment from the citizens came out of. And then threats. What are some threats that should consider? I'm not going to read the supervisors. Those are yours. But I am going to read the department heads and citizens as to keep us kind of moving along here. So affordable housing is what they said that's similar to you from citizens and department heads. Political influence is a threat from department heads and citizen. The divide is really causing them a lot of concern. Mental health AODA needs outpacing resources for department heads. Employee retention, competitive job market, law enforcement, threats and stress of law enforcement is what department heads are saying. Population growth, levy limits, cost of living, citizens' expectations. And that's high expectations of what department heads are able to deliver or do. And then citizen panel, mental health issues is also across the board a theme that they feel is a threat. Crime from the Twin Cities, water quality deterioration. County can't be involved with certain programs and partnerships are not working. Communication, limited ways to attain accurate information. So they talk about that I think there's maybe 4 small little newspapers and that's about it. So we did have some extensive conversation around communication. They're just not able to get accurate information in a accessible way, and that's a really big concern of the citizens, is not to be able to get information from the county or for themselves. So, and then zoning, and zoning is very general in terms of just being really thoughtful about zoning, following zoning processes and procedures. So just anything around zoning, they were had concerns about that, felt it was a threat. So we talked with the citizen panel and asked, what are some aspirations and results that you'd like to see come out of not only this plan, but in long term for your county? The first group of citizen panel feels strongly like they do not want to be another suburb of the cities. The second group saw many advantages to being in proximity of the Twin Cities and enjoys the rural part of our county. They like to see a county that protects their natural resources, celebrate, preserve, and enhance the advantages that St. Croix hometowns, agriculture, and rural residential, and not be so focused on looking for new things. They want to see a community that knows each other, has effective communication, and is connected. So, any questions so far? I'm going to move into now the community survey.
I just want to go back on the citizen panel where you said zoning. Can you clarify exactly what part do they don't like zoning, or there isn't enough zoning, or what was the issue with zoning?
So my understanding, Eric, you can chime in your thoughts about that. They felt that some zoning was not being followed through, and let me just see here. It might be in the notes that maybe I sent Ken. Sorry, I apologize, I didn't print that. But they felt that there was not enough enforcement. Some of them felt like there wasn't enough enforcement of zoning, and also thoughtfully done. There's just a lot of development happening, and they feel it's not thoughtfully done, and that it's growing too much and becoming unaffordable. They're losing some of the rural characteristics. Do you have any more to add on the zoning, Eric, besides that piece?
It seemed like it's across the board, and I don't know if you noticed, but zoning was in more than one category, right? It was not addressed that area as well, so some felt there's an opportunity, right, for that, but felt, I think things got lumped up as well, but it's just, they felt it was implemented properly. But they were a little bit across the board what their definition of possible.
I'm trainable, it's just a long process. Solar and rooftop solar showed up both as an opportunity and as a threat on the citizens panel. There's a statement, utility, wind and solar, bad for county, but then we have encourage rooftop solar. Is that just a split between two viewpoints there?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think there was another question, but it slipped my mind. I'll let it go.
Yeah, so if you can see, those didn't make their top 10, but it was comments that they did have in addition. That is all information for you to think about. There was many things, they said, I believe they said the sheriff's department was a strength, and then they also said it was a weakness too, because it didn't enforce certain things. So as you can see, there's opportunities, basically what I see as a consultant looking at all this. There's opportunities to improve, and even our strengths, areas of strengths, what could we do better? So okay, so if there are no more questions, I'm gonna move on to the community survey results. And again, this is not a focus group, so we had to really make a lot of inferences from the data, and there's 286, 286, it's right in front of me, 286 citizens of St. Croix from across the board that did answer the survey. And there was a lot of themes that came out. So hopefully, again, you will listen to this and just see when you start to cluster how it can help. So the first question we asked is, when you think of St. Croix County, what do you care deeply about preserving or protecting about this place? What St. Croix citizens deeply care about preserving and protecting is, one, nature. And you may not group it this way. Okay, but they really talked about preserving natural resources, protecting wildlife and rivers, clean air and water. They talked about the natural beauty, parks and recreation. So 48% came out as a theme for nature. The second was rural characteristics. and that's 18%. Historical buildings and downtown, they really want to see those things preserved. Preserving farmland, woodland, green space, they've mentioned. Rural agricultural tradition, small towns, and feeling. In the freedom space, that was 11%. Lots of citizens feel very strongly about protecting their constitutional rights, civil liberties, less government involvement, freedom of religious beliefs. So in here, they really were concerned and wanting to protect their freedoms to make choices. The community is 10%. They want to bring back social and community events. They want a friendly, family-friendly community with community programs. They really cared about that. Again, it goes back to that community feel and that feeling of being connected. The other is safety, lowering crime rates, keeping citizens safe, law enforcement, making sure that law enforcement has what they need to protect the citizens. 4%, they really cared about safety. Education, having great schools, having access to the great schools, really cared about preserving and protecting that. So health care, 3%. Really, some of them talked about the nursing homes and how wonderful that is. We really need to protect that. And access to health care was really important to them. And then affordable housing was 2%. It's mentioned in different degrees, just so you know. We took out themes, so out of the comments. And so affordable housing makes one of those top because it was repeated several times. So we'll go on to, and affordable housing, sorry. Part of that is also lowering taxes. That was a theme that came out in the survey, is how do we lower taxes? So just some comments. I'm not going to read all of them. What I'm going to do is have you read some of this, and I'll read some more from even in the notes here. The green space, lands, and parks, the nursing home, and all the folks we care about. So here are some comments from the first question. Care about protecting medical freedom, freedom and liberty in general, letting people make decisions, having St. Croix County inform the public and letting people choose for themselves, less government, keep government small and not become a big brother, sister. Our natural beauty and resources, keeping those intact is critical. Stop cutting down mature trees just for urban things. So again, you're reading some of the comments on my slides, but I'm reading you additional comments that are kind of consistent throughout. Next question, question 2. What St. Croix counties would share with people who don't live here? And again, the nature comes through loud and clear. You're starting to see some themes here as they just go. Natural landscapes, resources. They talk about the parks, the state rivers, the 3 wonderful rivers that are in St. Croix, and the fish and the trout and all that stuff, the comments that come through. So they're really prideful of the natural resources that are in St. Croix. Community, supportive community, great neighborhood, family engagement activities. They're really proud to share with folks who aren't from here of that. And again, the role characteristic, the historical building, the country atmosphere, the green space is really important to them. The safety, you know, they feel pretty safe as a community, low crimes here, competent law enforcement. Location, accessible, they can go to the Twin Cities if they want, the big city life. They have easy access to everything that they need or want. Education is really important. Local businesses, they love the businesses that are here. Again, the freedom that they have living in a smaller county, they love that. Affordable housing, so that's on here, but lower taxes. So again, so they're saying housing is not affordable. All right, so here are a few comments I'll have you read, and I'll read some additional ones from the question number 2. You can read those because I want you to just get a variety of different comments from your citizens. I know that's really important to you. Great community art, fairs, and scenic trails, infrastructure. The county and city, townships, and villages have well-maintained roadways and municipal services. The landscape with rolling hills and numerous rivers to canoe or kayak. So these are prideful things they would share. I love all the different restaurants and venues that have something for everyone. So many options for going out. I don't need to leave Hudson. Small town feel. People help each other out. So that's what they would share. Again, give you some opportunities to read the comments on here while I add a couple of comments. Everyone is friendly. It's a great place to raise kids. Natural beauty. It feels safe. Good places to be outdoors. Willow River State Parks, St. Croix River. Friendly, fun, active citizens, growing diversity, and great public schools. Okay. And they talk about the historic in the downtown. So let's go to the next question. With question 3, what are 1 or 2 things that make you sad or unhappy about St. Croix County that you would like to change? Here we have 24% diversity and inclusion. This is really increased diversity and inclusion, increased equal representation, more welcoming of diverse populations, decreased racism and tolerance. 21% politics. Less government involvement, power, decreased political divide. That has been what makes a lot of the citizens in here come through, say, is that's rubbing off on them. Increased leadership and accountability and infringement on freedoms. Some of them felt really strongly about the mask issue, that should be a personal choice issue, and that there are some overreaching in that component. So those are some of the comments that come from infringement on freedoms. So that's 17% is slow down growth and expansion. Traffic congestion, loss of historic landscapes, crowding, poorly planned development. And I think I shared this already with my previous comments, and that you guys have asked about what does that mean for zoning. So that's, again, slow down the expansion, celebrate what the beauty of our county as it is. 17% said that. Affordable housing, 14% would like to see that change. Increase affordable housing, higher paying jobs, and lowering taxes. Comments such as, I'm already paying quite a bit of money in taxes. If I have to pay any more, I can't afford my place to live right now. So those are some of the comments that goes around affordable housing. And affordable housing in workforce is kind of what they're talking about. To some of them, it's for a variety. Don't just have the $500,000 homes that individuals can't afford. Have more diversity in housing cost. So environmental protection, 6% would like to see this changed. Decrease pollution, regulate waste contamination, increase sustainability. This part is probably, I think I mentioned water. Water was huge. Water quality has come out quite a bit in a lot of the comments. Just maybe you guys aren't surprised by that, but that has come out in the citizen panel and through the surveys. Economic growth. So on the flip side, we have 6% that likes it and wants more thoughtful businesses to come through. They want unique businesses in this area to grow this community, but not necessarily like the franchises, but more unique places and support for small businesses. Transportation. So in this transportation, 5%, comments around if you have a vehicle, then it's easy for you, but there's no other way to really get around. They're really passionate about public transportation as well as maybe rails, getting folks from one end to Hudson if need be. So there are comments around that. I'm sorry, in the increased economic growth is also broadband. So that was across the board for all of you guys. The citizens are in agreement. Oops, sorry. And then mental health and drug issues, again, very concerned and wanting to see more services to support mental health and AODA issues. And then roads. Upkeeping roads. Some comments around this is I'm not quite sure Highway 63, but that's and they said Highway 63 and over, nobody cares about the roads over there. So there's a comment about that. So I don't know, you live in this community, you probably know, but it seemed like that highway and over, nobody cares about those roads. So those are the types of comments that we were associating with. Again, it's just roads upkeep. So all right, so again, you can read some of that, and I'm going to find some other additional, again, like I said, there's 288 folks, so I can only put a few comments on here, so feel free to read some of those comments, and then I'll read some additional ones. I'm deeply disappointed in the public health department. The information they share with the public is very one-sided. They must never educate on natural ways to stay healthy. So, you can see some of the opinions. We have members of our community that focus on divisiveness and hate. They often spread misinformation to further this divide, often political purposes. The encroachment of the Twin Cities and Chicago into our county. So again, they really don't want to be a Woodbury, is what comes through in a lot of these comments. Creeping suburbanization, disconnected bike trails and not enough miles of bike trails is concerns for the citizens here. Okay, so I'm going to let you go read the next one on there as I pick out a few other ones. Better cleanup of ditches from the litter bugs. Too close again to cities, people moving out this way and building more and more homes, causing urban sprawl. So I'm just going to skip some more. There's also a comment in here that that St. Croix County is kind of missed on a state level, and maybe I'll point that as like they feel like St. Croix County is being missed on a state level because you guys are kind of somehow lumped into Minnesota, and those are some of the comments, like we don't get the recognition or support necessarily, it seems like, from the state level, because it sounds like it's then kind of part of the Twin Cities. So those are some of the comments that came through. Concern of pollution and stuff. So, all right. Keep moving on to what counties could do to make St. Croix County a better place to live and work. 16% rural characteristics, again, preserving rural characteristics, natural resources, parks and recreation and historical sites, downtown. Decrease government overreach, limit government power, protect freedoms. In the politics, 16% came really loud on that. The community portion is increased community involvement and voice. So 12% say include us, inform us, include us. So that's what they're really wanting to do. Strong community ties, so wanting again that to be connected in social community events as well. Diversity and inclusion, 12%. Increased diversity and inclusion, increased political, not increased political divide, no. Decrease political divide, more inclusive community, respect for individual differences. So 12% of the citizens said that. Leadership. So leadership training, leadership transparency, and accountability. They like to see stronger leadership. 11% said that. Again, affordable housing, lowering taxes, increasing housing options, as I mentioned to all of you. Not necessarily like Section 8 housing or low-income housing like that, but they're looking for just a diverse. So that was the majority of the population saying that. Increased broadband, support small business growth, so economic development, 8% would like to see that. Law enforcement growth and support, regulate traffic laws, decrease crime rate. A lot of them are saying, give our law enforcement what they need so they can protect us. So 8% is saying that. Oops, sorry. Transportation, again, 6%, and then education, 2%. Having great schools, access to educational institutions. All right, so I'm going to have you, again, look at the comments. Oh, go ahead.
Of the citizen panel, how many people what was the divide east and west of the county? How many people came from Hudson, and how many people came from the rest of the county?
I don't know, but I did give the list to Ken. He has the people that did attend, so I'm not quite sure what county they're from. What part they're from.
Yeah. So the way that the panel was made up, looking at the names, I wouldn't be able to answer that question for you necessarily, but the makeup of the panel was I asked each of the supervisors to recommend one person, presumably from their area of the county, so we would have a good representation. And then I also asked the department heads to recommend someone that utilized their services. So those could be more skewed geographically, but again, hopefully a good distribution of the service users.
So if you can see, this is for the survey.
And there's another question on this side.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is all the places that they're from. And we can divide it up by your area if you want your own data. You want some of your data for your district.
So there were two different pieces. There was the citizen panel, which is what I described, and this is the online survey. And we do have, this is the distribution for the online survey of where they lived.
Yeah, so this is very different. Yeah, we don't have the information based off of the name who. I'm sorry. There was a lot of responses, 288, so to try to get all the towns, it was, I worried about that as well, so I can sympathize with you. I worried about you seeing that as well. So Hudson City, Town of Hudson, New Richmond City, this is again based off of what they decided to put. So again, you have to say, again, this is not statistically validated. This was qualitative. We were asking for information. And so if 288 folks, but they didn't all say where they're from. It's a choice if they said where they, what town they're from. That was not a requirement. There are a lot that did not disclose. Yes. Absolutely. So you see the ones that did disclose, there's a lot of them that didn't.
So would it be possible to get this data by our districts? That would be helpful for us to know what our constituents are looking for.
Yeah. Is that okay, Ken?
Yeah, that's fine. If you can do that, go ahead. Good luck.
Yes, each question was, you can get the specifics. So if you want to just send me an email, if that might be better. Could you guys just send me an email? That I'm not going to be able to remember the names and stuff. But if you can send that to me, that would be great. And then we'll give you the data specifically for your district.
In your request, please say which of the
Yeah.
townships and village or cities you're looking for, because Yengi won't know where
Yeah,
your
I
district
won't.
lies.
Was there other questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Ken, or either one of you, is there a possibility that we can get a printout of all the information that's been up here right now, so far?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And like I said, it's a stack. I probably, reading through each one of these, and it probably took me several hours to read through them just to prepare the graphs and this section of it that was the citizen was all done by Jensen. So she did all the hard work pulling all this stuff together, and she said she'd be more than happy to pull the data for your district. So, all right. Any other questions? And I'm going to move on from here. Okay, we are ready for the activity. So what we're going to do now is, now that you have the information, some themes, you started to see some themes across the board a little bit, and some of the comments that I read and some of the comments you read online as well, you started to hear some of those things. So what we're going to do is a clustering activity. So in your sheets, you should have gotten a strengths, weaknesses. It doesn't matter. I want you to pull from all of them. But what are you seeing are clusters of things that people care about, or you're starting to see that, okay, here are some clusters of, for example, okay, here's just an example. Don't use this. This is just an example. But for example, I heard words like recruitment, competitive market. So I put a topic of talent management. Seems to be a concern. Okay, so start to see, and even if it's not a concern, maybe it's a strength, right? But we could improve on it. Put that, start to cluster some of that. So we're going to break you all up into groups of, do we have 5 on the board, Eric? Okay, groups of 5. And you're going to, in your group, start to cluster some things together. What are you seeing? So again, there's comments on the front, comments on the back for some of those sheets. So start to say, what of these topics do we want to somewhat focus on and norm around, okay? But we're not going to get that far yet. Right now, we're just looking at clustering some thoughts and some ideas together, putting a topic on there. And then in your group, pick 5. Okay, 5, and write it on your sheet, because there are 5 sheets across this room. So I'm going to break you up, put you in your groups. You're going to talk about all the information you got, and you're going to start to put topics and different things underneath that. Why do I think this topic is appropriate for us to maybe focus on? Like I said, talent management, the words that I heard were recruitment, competitive market, diverse workforce. Or parks and recreation. What I heard from the comments was more recreational activities for families, bike paths, etc. Okay, so you start to kind of do a little bit of that. And then we just want your top five topics that you feel passionate around on that board. So you're going to do it on the sheet that you have. So there should be a theme sheet in your packet. Like this. Okay? And then when you feel really ready, right, when you feel like, okay, I've clustered all that I could think of that came out of this, here are the 5 things that I feel that I've heard that are very passionate or that I want to see. Then put those 5 items on to the little sticky Post-it pads. Is that clear as mud for everybody? Is that clear? Okay. And Eric and I will go around and we will be helping you as well. So I'm just going to count off by groups of 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. We have a smaller group. Okay, so let's do 3. Sorry. 1, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Paulette. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay? All right. So go to groups 1, 2, and 3, and work within your groups to start clustering. Oh, yes. Yes, move tables around, do what makes you feel comfortable. So 1's over here, 2's over there, 3's over there, okay? So 1's over here, 2's over there, and 3's over there, okay? What? Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
I just gotta say, number 1 is still number 1.
Is it?
No matter how much we 1984, 1 is still 1.
Oh, is there 5? Oh, okay. Oh, 5 groups of 3? Oh, oops, I misunderstood.
Now we just got 3 groups of 5.
You did that on purpose. You knew I couldn't let that go.
I didn't want to tell you, but spread it around.
Scott counter. Scott, you're our guy.
I thought you were number 1. Now this guy's number 1. He is what the priority was. He went to the sandwich first.
Of course, I wasn't thinking right. I saw count to 3. Yeah.
I'm just already moving slow. We don't have any markers though.
Oh, you want the marker? All right, what color do you
Oh, yes.
Can I get a dry erase marker for my non-dry erase board?
Oh, yes, I will come around and give markers. Yeah. Work together as a group before you put your final ink mark on the wall. table. Should I, yeah, I was gonna say.
Safety first and then. Oh, for me to sit? Thank you. Oh, there we go. Oh, those are those quads I didn't realize I had for years. Oh, yeah, baby. Greg, tell us how.
And we will spend 40 minutes to doing this exercise, and then we'll pull everybody back. your discussion and put your top 5 on there. 5:30, so they should be. 30 minutes. Quick.
So you're gonna be, I guess, on the mic and I'll. Okay, good, we got some.
Should I just use this? Yeah. We won't hear them though, so.
Unless they use a microphone. Full battery too.
Oh. Okay, can everybody hear me? All right. Okay, let's move to this activity because we got one more activity, team, and we got a lot to accomplish tonight. All right, so we're gonna go with group number 1. Tell us your reasonings for the categories that you've picked. What kind of themes were you noticing? What did you see? What are your thoughts as you were writing each area down? So. Sorry.
First one, broadband.
Oh.
There, how's that? All right. First one, broadband. Everybody, we've heard quite a bit on that tonight, so I don't know if we need to elaborate too much. We were discussing it with the group that one of the issues is that it isn't like a lot of the other counties throughout the state where they have a single company that is managing that entire county. We have several small companies that are taking on the broadband, so it makes it more difficult to coordinate and to get services to everybody. But it is a challenge and something we need to work on. Next one was natural resources, which seemed to be a common theme topic throughout all the ones that the communications that were put up. Don't know how much to expand on the natural resources. Yeah, we talked a little bit on the water quality and the different things that we do have and the things we need to monitor and maintain. Next thing that we noticed that was the mental health. So under the mental health, we talked about a lot of different things with that too. There's dealing with both people with disabilities and people that need assessment and how we're handling that currently versus how should we handle it for the future and looking at it. Next one was affordable housing, another common theme that seems to keep coming up. One of the things we talked a little bit about on that is with affordable housing is we need housing that matches what the incomes are for the county people. We don't necessarily have to be all subsidized housing. We have to look at what the needs are to be able to develop a way to have housing for people that's affordable for what the wage rates are for a typical person in the county. Did I do that right? Okay. Yeah. Oh, communication to public from the county. As we see our newspapers disappear, and we're down to like one paper for the county. Maybe there's another one, but they still have one over in Baldwin. So, in Glenwood? Okay, so they're fortunate. We've lost some of ours in our area, so it makes it more difficult to get the word out to everybody as far as what's going on and being able to follow through with it. So this is nothing that we talked about how to resolve it, just something that we know is something that we really do need to discuss it and try to figure out how to overcome that one. And the last one was the transportation. And maybe when you guys can, okay, senior citizen transportation, people for work needs. So.
Thank you. Well, we now have a mic, so we can put this that big thing away for whoever needs to speak next. Group number 3 is next. You want to go and kind of just talk about your reasonings?
All right. There's a theme of themes here, I think, as we can see by looking at these 3. So we had environment, natural resources. I've talked about that in relation to not only water protection and things like that, but also parks and trails and recreation across the county. Public safety incorporated not only what you would traditionally think about public safety, but also mental health crises in the county, issues related to drug use and heroin use and things like that. So kind of a bigger public safety net versus just what you might traditionally think of. Broadband, also noted in multiple areas here. That included really access to broadband, but also looking at broadband from an economic development standpoint, and also just from communication standpoint as well. People need that access to the service. Zoning and affordable housing. We talked about affordable housing kind of in the sense of workforce housing as well, and just having that variety of housing levels, but the importance too of zoning and the impact that has on the ability of a community to have affordable housing. And then finally, taxes really incorporated a discussion about not only just taxes as itself, but also financial management of the county and the income, the revenue that's coming into the county, how that impacts what we do. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the best for last. Group 3. Identifying natural resources, our parks, preservation, a view on development and managing that development, and of course, water quality within the county, as all life depends on water. Moving on to rural characteristics, we were looking at land rights, property rights, sight lines, or the horizon out of your window, wind and solar developments within St. Croix County and the effects to the negative that those may have on our natural resources and land values. Looking at preservation of rural character in small communities as well as municipalities. Then we're moving on to county stability. And in looking at county stability, we're looking at transportation and transit. We're looking at mental health and public safety. Moving from that, and all of these play into each other, so moving on to public safety, we're looking at traumas that happened and diversion of those traumas, mental health support for our law enforcement, for our county staff, creating integrated services to address issues of mental health, AODA, and staff stress within the county services. And finally, recreation, looking at the bikes, ATV, UTV, walking trails, snow trails, parks, county fairs, community fairs, and all events. All of them play into one another. We grow from them, we develop from them, and they create that sense of common community and bond.
Okay. Eric's gonna put some notes down. What are you seeing across the board? So look at the themes you all kind of came up with. There's one glaring right at me, which is seems to be all across the board, is natural resources. I'm assuming we want to put that as our top, one of our top.
I think on that one, we would also say that there's a desire to preserve, but there's also competing interests that the landowners have.
So just like that, any comments on different things that you mean by natural resources? So some of you talked about water quality. Others talked about different areas. What we're not prioritizing, but just so we know when we're thinking natural resources, and eventually we're going to come up with goals and objectives, what are we kind of talking about in that space?
I think it's air quality, water quality, and just the views. A lot of people seem to comment on the views of things. A lot of things can impact that.
So view as in like green space view, or?
Just as you look down, as you're driving down the road, looking at the county, you see a rural aspect of everything. You don't see a lot of intrusive structures.
So, question, sorry, I don't have a microphone, would that include rural? Some aspects of rural character, not all of it? Yeah, so, okay, could I put rural character under here, or is that a different thing?
Thoughts? Okay, I'm hearing no, yeah. Any other thoughts as you're looking around at some of your different group and your themes? Anything else that you're noticing? Okay, public safety is it's on 2 of them.
Affordable housing, broadband.
So should I add public safety?
I would say public safety,
Yeah,
mental health, ASTA,
it was all one. Scott just screwed up.
Okay.
Not to blame him.
Wow, that didn't take long to throw Scott under the bus.
So public health and safety, or is it public health?
Okay, I put down mental health, safety, and anything else that you guys had under that category that I missed.
I don't think it's public health, I think it's public safety.
Yeah, public
Oh my
safety.
gosh, I'm sorry.
Safety, that's the F.
Thank you, sorry.
So mental health, safety, what else? When you said public safety, so
Public safety would be arresting the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
So crime would come under that. I know I had to say it, sorry, that was me.
It's also fire,
fire, okay.
You know?
EMT, or EMS. Disaster.
Oh, okay.
Tornadoes,
Disaster.
severe weather watches.
Health and Human Services. Power plant.
emergency management.
Someone said health and human services. So, thoughts? Should it go underneath there?
No.
Well, it's public safety.
How is that public safety?
Health and Human Services?
Yes.
Comes under integrated services within a public safety construction.
So from the aspect that one of the things we want to do is support our police officers with mental health resources as in addition to what they already have, I think it falls in there.
I think all under the committee I serve under. Or serve on. Public protection. So I don't think so. I think health, anything health and human services related falls under health and human services.
But it doesn't. Law enforcement is constantly working with health and human services. Elder abuse cases, child protection, elder abuse, AODA, mental health crisis, traumatic intervention. They work hand in hand.
Well, then I guess their health and human services falls under the sheriff.
It's integrated services.
I got you. I'm just.
Yeah.
Smart ass now.
So,
I'll give you your diploma following the meeting for that.
okay. So I want to make sure we have some of the silent voices also in the back here. Any thoughts? I've heard some. So public safety. What are we thinking? Kind of goes underneath this. We want to. Sounds like we want to. So we put integrated services in there. Okay.
Public safety is a huge animal.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I think what we did is under county stability, we had a bunch of that stuff under there. So, but that also includes transit, transportation, basic essential services, might be another term for that, that the county does very well with right now. So I think part of the thing is because we do a good job, it maybe doesn't surface as much.
Yeah, but there's opportunities, right? Even in, like we said, in strengths, there's opportunities to eventually set some goals around different things
So is
too.
the proper overlying category public safety or is it integrated services? Oh.
I'm looking at you guys. What do you
I think we might
think?
have to change that.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, seriously, not public safety, integrated services.
It doesn't, it's not part of our language. We don't say integrated services, it's public safety.
Well, that was the argument that was being thrown around.
Have any integrated services.
Go forward.
I understand that. That's why I'm saying, I'm just making my point
Yeah.
correct, I think.
And don't be requesting any new departments in the next 6 months.
Or any new committee.
So I don't know if we have to fully make
Yeah.
that decision
Yeah.
tonight, but I think we've got both.
Public safety and public health.
I like Tim. Tim's my neighbor. He sits right next to me.
So I'd like to hear from some others just to make sure
Yeah.
we're not just force fitting.
Considering that's the way the departments of the county government break down, public safety and public health, that would be wise.
Okay.
Is there
So
any
put public
disagreements?
health on its own, separate.
Okay, are there some elements that we put under public safety that really fit under public health? Since these were some of the priorities you talked about. I mean, I don't want to just throw out public health because we're trying to
Yeah.
split the two.
Public health is a piece of, public health is a singular department within Health and Human Services. Right.
So I think we're getting to the early interventions that you can get with trauma so that we keep people from having all of these experiences and end up in jail.
So maybe here's a time for me to share some of the bright ideas from the department heads. Service delivery maybe is the topic, and then you can fit a lot of different, because you're a service organization, you can fit those things underneath there. Just, I'm not attached to it. I know we're talking about what to put.
Really don't explain yourself. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, so I think the department heads feel service delivery could be one of the themes because they are a service organization. They provide health and human services staff. They provide, let's see, what else? They're not just health and human services, but they also provide other services. Can you
Yeah.
chime in with
Well, when
other-
you start thinking about service delivery, and I was thinking about what are the next things that are going to happen, goals related to that. How do we improve service delivery then? So identify what services we're delivering, areas that we may do it well, we may need improvement on, and then the next steps are going to be goals to make those better. So that's why service delivery, because that's one of the main things we do.
Encompass what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep, it would
Yes.
include,
Yes.
it's a higher level
Yeah.
of everything that you've been talking about.
Yeah, high level. We're categorizing, we're theming, so yeah, just high level. Underneath there, you can have maybe a mental health.
I say yes.
But I know you guys we're still talking about terms and themes, so.
No, it's a good suggestion from the staff.
Seems to bridge the divide here because you have two existing formal structures, which you really do have to have a liaison mechanism.
Okay, service delivery, good? Good, okay, all right, so Eric, oh yeah, ultimate, there, perfect. All right, so let's go on to our third one now. What are we seeing across the board? What do we feel is a top category out of all of them?
I'd have to disagree. I think protecting the ground and surface water has got to be our top priority. We're very close to it. We've got 40 parts per million nitrates in Emerald City Village Hall, or Town Hall, 2 months ago. We don't have the money to do testing for all the citizens in the county. We don't have the money to do testing within a couple-mile radius of just that spot. And we're lacking the resources to go out and do a thorough inventory of just the abandoned wells. We really need to focus more on protecting natural resources. Broadband would be nice. Water is essential.
Yeah, but that's already up there. It's already up there, Dan. Those are number one.
Well, you said that broadband should
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Yeah, the third one.
I thought I heard him say.
Yeah. That's all right.
We were letting you have your moment.
At least you didn't.
Stopped you at any time.
That was my endorsement for keeping natural resources number one. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Forgive me.
At least
Yep,
you didn't
no
write
worries.
public health. You did okay. Okay, so what's the third one? Broadband.
Okay.
Dan, we were letting you just get it out. We saw it. It's just you needed it.
I thought he said that.
Stop picking on us. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Access to broadband and affordability.
I don't know how much reading you guys have done on quantum internet, though. That, I mean, in all seriousness, that can save our need to build out and drudge fiber optic lines through our dirt.
Is that beyond 5G?
That is part of it. But it's, yeah, actually, our new library director was explaining it to me. So, it's pretty cool. But I'm with you on broadband, in the general sense.
And I'm seeing your group is also, yeah. Okay, that's a theme.
It's needed and necessary in the county
Yeah.
because in many parts of the county, you cannot access the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And we found this out in the pandemic for our students who are on the eastern side of the county. It was almost impossible for those students to maintain their educational status because the internet was so slow.
We had a
If it was
hotspot in
up
our
at
parking
all.
lot at Universal Falls just so people could come and sit in their cars and.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Is there a fourth?
Yes, is there a fourth?
You guys are okay with that? Because I think you're the only one that doesn't specifically name it, but maybe it fell under.
Stability. So underneath affordable housing, I guess we had another discussion too that was, it also ties in, good wages to be able to afford housing. People want to build. Right. Developers don't want to build typically low-end housing, they can build high housing.
Which requires the businesses to be here to pay those wages.
I think you guys brought that up too. So it sounds like all three. Is there a different way you want me to frame it other than
I think
affordable housing?
We like said zoning. Yeah.
Mm.
And even though Scott put affordable housing on there, we actually encompassed it over zoning and planning and balance.
So managed development.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that works.
Well, development is driven by the marketplace. And the problem is, what we have to overcome, or figure out a way to do this, and it's going to be driven by the funds available, is how to regulate the marketplace.
But managed development is accomplished through comprehensive planning, strategic planning, and land use through zoning, which we do have conflicting ordinances, state and local, which conflict with the desires of the property owner to utilize their land in the way they see fit, or if they purchased land or had it in their family and now want to subdivide, many times that is prevented due to existing language. So having a managed development where you can have development in a rural area, upholding a rural characteristic, or within a municipality where you're doing smart planning so that you're not developing urban sprawl. By managed planning, you're accomplishing all of those goals.
You can also incentivize, I think, some of the development to go in the direction you want by providing a benefit to the developer that they may wish to have in another area if they will mix the housing a little bit.
Certainly, and if they are going for HUD or state credits through WIDA for housing tax credits, even in single-family homes, that can become very profitable because those tax credits turn into actual dollars. And then if you, through your development agreement, whether it's within a village, township, or municipality, And within that development agreement with that builder, you have language which states you're going to have this property, and this is what we're proposing, is we'd like tiered housing on a cost basis, so that you're now developing an integrated cost neighborhood, which has been quite successful in many areas.
So I've heard, oh, go ahead, Dan.
The components of that discussion are that it's market-driven. And something that's very important to understand is that our zoning rules are driven by townships. We don't originate the zoning. We originate suggestions, and then we've had, I think, more than how many, 60 meetings with the townships when we finished this last zoning ordinance over the course of a year and a half to craft the zoning, Chapter 17 zoning ordinance. The townships then take a year to decide if they're going to be in or out. So we administer, but we don't really truly write the zoning ordinance. We can't force the zoning on the townships. There are the constraints. I'm not arguing against affordable housing. I'm telling you what we're up against. It's a steep hill to climb. That's all. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just
No, I don't think you're being negative.
no.
I've heard 3 terms, and I'm just kind of curious which term you guys want to norm. You've got one already from Group 3, zoning and affordable housing. You've got managed development. I think we're just talking about some semantics here, but maybe they're important. And then the third is something you said, and I don't want to misquote it, but I heard regulated markets. Maybe that's not what you were saying, but I thought I heard that.
well, if we're going to zone it, if we're going to zone for affordable housing, that's a form of regulation. But I don't think you want to put that in the
Okay, okay.
So do you want a norm around managed development?
I would like to.
Oh,
Which is, we're talking about residential development, but we also want to encourage commercial development that's going to stay well and still fit the character of what we want to have. So those jobs would help pay for, would contribute to affordable housing, if you will. Right? We don't want a ton of McDonald's going up and down 94 because that's not going to put people in houses.
there's a comment over here.
I was gonna say, I think our goal would be to really want to encourage an environment, whether it's zoning, whether it's economic development initiatives, things like that, that would result in creating a variety of types of housing or drawing a variety of types of businesses here. So it's all the overall environment that we're creating, whether it's laws or incentives or things like that. So I see it as a combination to, so we're talking about markets and drawing people here and wanting to either build different types of housing or wanting to bring new businesses here to, again, kind of a symbiotic support of each other.
We are a law for both business and people. And so can we harness that desire to be here to steer, how we want it to go? I mean, I think Pat Casanova always talks about, he's one of the guys in town, they're coming, and we can't stop them, but we can steer them. And so, I mean, can we figure that as a part of it? And not so much self-support, because people want to be.
So do we use a term, like an old school term, like economic development? Or is that, I'm trying to figure out a way to include in there the zoning part that you talked about, the land use, the housing? Or is economic development still, is that just too broad for what you mean?
Yeah, I think economic development really does encompass everything that everyone has been speaking of.
So I'm confused here. Who decided, Paulette?
Yeah, it was Paula.
You know I love you, Paulette. So people want to come here naturally. Businesses want to come here naturally. But yet, I've been on the phone over the last 2 months with 3 different manufacturing companies that are going to go up to Polk or Chippewa. So that argument is not valid. Hold on, I'm not done. I'm not done. People want to move here, which means they want to come here of natural means, but for some reason, we have to pay for the housing for them to want to come here? Or subsidize it? Or zone it so that it's only a particular price? I'm confused. We're kind of going around in circles on this.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of getting to the action, and we're getting to like defining some goals. Let's kind of at least kind of come back up a little bit to themes, and then we don't, that might be, again, some of these things might never make the priority.
If I
but
may, I think what we're talking about as the 30,000 foot, which is I think what we're trying to get to right now, is zoning and development. I think that maybe what we should be up to.
Okay. Yeah?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Scotty. But I think that's what, I'm just saying, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the 30,000
As a broad
foot.
term, I think that's where we're all going. We're all
Yeah.
way too deep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, all right.
So
Yeah.
that's,
Thank you.
hey, I'm here for you.
Yeah. Awesome. We got our fourth one. That's good.
That's why I asked for your concurrence.
Okay. Dare I ask if there's a fifth one? There doesn't have to be.
There doesn't have to be, yes. But if there's a fifth one that you're really passionate about, again, we will take these. We'll put some goals and objectives around it, okay? But think about your team too, your resources and capacity, and the team that's going to be doing these things, right? So 4 is wow, great. Okay.
We felt recreation was something that was mentioned quite often. Our recreational, now you can talk about under natural resources potentially, but it also includes things like fair, a sense of community, festivals, things like that. Things, so I think we haven't covered that somewhere. Where we want to put it. But I would argue.
I'm hearing no other comments, so everyone's in agreement. Thoughts? I mean, unless you.
Right, because we're looking at rural character is something that we've heard over and over again in the public comments, along with natural resources and recreation. Natural resources kind of umbrellas that because the rural character is a natural resource. Families that have been in this county for 100 years or more have created that character. And have maintained it through the generations. That is a natural resource. And the recreation falls directly in line with that.
Recreation is also an engine of economic development. It's the reason people like to come here.
So yeah, we're sort of in a lumping or splitting gray area.
I mean, you could put it under general topic of community.
I like recreation because it includes, isn't that what you said?
I said recreation.
And that's what I'm saying with it, and that's what Scotty said, recreation is you triangulating 3 very different personalities and opinion types, and we're all saying the same thing, you're pretty safe.
Okay.
I just look at it as community coming in.
Recreation. Just wanted to say it.
Okay, so I know some of you are like, oh, that. All right, Eric, do you want to talk
can I
about
ask
the rest?
just a different question? Okay, I'm not trying to add a sixth at all, but was there anything that was up here that didn't or couldn't fit somewhere in these 5 that you're, maybe not happy that it got left off, but even if we have to leave it off, that's okay. I'm just saying, anything else up there that we missed?
We have a whole committee on transportation that's trying to improve transportation county, possibly service delivery.
We had it under what we call responsibility development.
So you think we could probably put it under here? Because again, we're not sure what's going to make it up into the strategic goal area and the objective area, but for now, if we had to, could we fit it under service delivery?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep, I think that's Scotty.
He's already did it, they're way ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay, done.
Okay, good.
Anything else? Any other?
Good job, Ed.
Okay, fantastic, great job. I think you guys really came through, thank you. All right, the next thing, and we're going to try to do this and end by 6:45, so we get you a little early.
Yes.
So here's what we'd like to do. I know some of you really enjoy and spend a lot of the time during these 30,000-foot conversations getting right into the action steps, right? Because that's what we like to do. And we're going to now give you an opportunity to do a little bit of that. So, so we're going to get into some. So here's what I'd like you to do. Around the wall, and maybe I could ask you to do this.
Yes, I'm going to write. Yep.
Around the wall, Yangi is going to put the themes. She's going to put each of these 5 themes that we've come up with. And your job now, yes, is to wander around to these theme areas and to list under the theme. You can put it in your own writing, in your own words, one action item or 2 or however many you want that you think we should be thinking about as a county to do to address this issue. So, for example, with recreation, what would be an action item that you think the county should be doing around recreation? Now, if you're not comfortable with talking about an action item, you can also reframe the area of recreation to talk about what, like parks or tourism or events. If you want to just, write in, I think I'd like to, reframe this a little bit as including events, you can write anything underneath that you want. But it would be really awesome if you could think of a concrete action that you would like to take or you'd like the county to take. Okay? And this is going to get us a little further downstream when we get to objectives. It's going to help us out to look at actually concrete objectives. Okay? Now, does everybody understand what the goal is? So you can take everyone needs a marker. Okay? Everyone. And you're going to go around to each of these blank sheets that have one of these 5 themes, and you're going to come up with some concrete action item for those themes. Or you can do 2 action items, or as many as you want.
And if you don't want to go to all 5 of them, that's okay too.
Yeah, you can get stuck on one if you really are interested in just one.
Yes.
So if we end this by 6:35.
Perfect. It's okay, whatever comes to you. This isn't an end-all, be-all, or final. You still have time.
Was that yours? Seriously, did you read my mind? That's why I went over that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Then we just see, monitor it, and if one starts to overflow,
Yeah.
we put another thing up. I don't know that they are, but.
Got a marker?
And then by the time I
Move my cheese, you're like going down the names.
I thought it was an avoidance strategy. You were just kind of like,
He's thinking.
You know what?
Tell it pending, you can tell what they roll.
What? Amenity. I got golf clubs surrounding me. I got a big hockey arena a mile and a half. You got 2. Oh, well, that's privately Richmond one is municipally owned. Well, that's, you gotta have fun with your city council. Right.
No, he just wants it inside of your department, so within your cylinders of excellence. Cylinders of excellence. How do you cross-function, right, the wheels and stuff like that?
the other stuff when we're ready to?
Yeah, I'm gonna take photos of them too.
Oh.
Yeah, I just, no, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Okay.
not those though. I'm gonna take them.
Well, I was kind of worried about the broadband one because I thought, well, that's pretty specific. But they have a lot of stuff on it. I don't know what it is, but because the other group kind of broadened it to infrastructure, right? So then the question is, how different? I can't remember how different are the two. You got them on service delivery. That's a good job. Natural resources, that's the same. What was that one over there? That one's different. That was kind of a little different.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Those are similar. Yeah, similar to I think what we're talking.
And was broadband its own? Or was infrastructure? It was infrastructure, right? Close. It's close.
Oh, I.
No, these aren't. Oh, no. You can do anything you want. You want to look at those? It's not,
No, I don't want to
it's
look
not
at
any
them.
of
I
those.
want to put my green, my pluma away. Oh, there it is. My pluma de casa.
It's technically a marca d'or.
I know, but I say pluma de casa. You know why? Yes. I don't know. Okay, never mind. It's like a way inside joke. I'll walk up to like a counter and I'll be like, I need a energy juice made with hot water with milk flavored water and cocaine substitute.
Oh my God.
And I'll have baristas look at me like,
Like saying I want a potato, but I want it.
Free to move back into the circle. We're gonna close up with next steps.
16-year-olds that look at me like, I don't
Oh,
get
I'm
it.
sure they
I'm
think
like,
you're just an old.
You've never seen James Bond.
What the heck are you talking about?
If I see you standing, it means you still need more time. But if you're
Oh, okay.
this way, I know I can start to wrap up.
Yeah, well, and it's all with that. And the city can only accommodate that. Yeah, your downtown area is just.
You trashed it, Carol. What the heck is it gonna do?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. You know what? I because I should have offered to help. So I'm not standing because I need more time.
So Ken was very kind to print out a few PowerPoints. So there's 3 left. If you want one, come and grab it. Okay. It's already been sent out. So,
You've already got it in my email?
Ken, are you going to send these out electronically or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take my.
They like electronic.
I do.
So there's three other paper copies.
What's already expensive? We don't need this contributed to. Thank you. Cash grows on trees, but.
Okay, could you?
Right.
All right, okay. So, I still, is there still more thoughts left? Okay, we're good, okay. So our next steps. Oh, oh no, what did I do?
What did you do?
Okay, there we go. I zoomed, okay. So our next steps between now and June 22nd, 2021. So if you still have additional thoughts, you walk away, didn't get a chance to, we're still gonna come back to this. You can always email me in between as well. But here's what I need from you as supervisors. I need to select 2 individuals. So we have not done our vision and our mission. The homework, there's only been 3 respondents to the homework. And so what I'm gonna do is have a subcommittee to work on this. So I need 2 volunteers from the supervisors group who's passionate about the vision and mission and wants to be part of it. I think we have 2 or 3, we have 3 from the department heads that will be part of that process, but we're gonna meet separately, like as a subcommittee to kind of finalize our vision and mission so we can bring it back to the larger group, because you're all going to be together as a large group, department heads and supervisors, on June 22nd. So I want us to come to the group with somewhat a subcommittee thoughts on the vision and mission, because it's really a driving force for you to set some goals and some objectives around. So you don't have to do it today, but if we already have a couple people, we'll jot down names and I'll email you guys, but we'll be meeting in the next 2 weeks to get this done. Okay? I also need,
I would get your 2 volunteers right now, or the chair can appoint someone.
yeah, if you could, Eric, can you write their names down?
Tim and I can. Tim
Okay.
and I can.
Okay, good.
That's diverse thought and ideas.
Okay.
That's diverse.
Thank you so much. This does not mean that the rest of you can't join. Okay, I just want 2 designated, but if some of you feel passionate about it and want to join too, more power. If we can get some things done at the small committee level, that would be great. So I'll have that date, and if you can make it, that would be perfect. But I'll organize it with the designee a date for us to meet, and then anybody else that wants to join is fine.
And it's probably going to be virtual, is that right?
It is virtual. It is virtual.
Mr. Chair, the only thing I'd point out is, with Paul and I, we're both Hudson residents. We're going to represent the western side of the county, probably more by default than anything. I would like to suggest maybe we have somebody from the east or northern part of the county.
I'll withdraw as a kindness to my friends in the eastern part of the county.
Do it.
Okay.
You beat me to it.
Thank you, Dan.
That was very nice of me. Yeah, so you can pat me on the back later.
Thank
I'll pat you on the back later.
Well, don't forget, we have another subcommittee. There is another subcommittee. As you look on the slide, work with a selected group on aligning with comp plan. So who's passionate about the comp plan that wants to be part of that subcommittee to help us align and make sure we cover some of those things on the strategic plan and align the next 2 to 3 years with the overarching backbone of the comp plan, which is a 10-year plan normally. So I need 2 volunteers for that as well. Okay, we have one. Okay, all right. Thank you. Just, okay, everybody good with that? Okay, I'm hearing, yes, okay, perfect, we got the names. Whoa, we are efficient. Okay, so then June 22nd, our meeting day, we're gonna finalize our vision and mission. We're gonna confirm the themes we wanna start to set some goals and objectives around. We're gonna finalize that. And then we're going to set the goals and objectives. That's a lot to do in 4 hours with a large group. So we may be sending some pre-work ahead of time. What? 4 hours, yes. Yes. June 22nd. It is 4 hours, but remember, there's you guys and department heads together. So there's a lot of thoughts, ideas that are trying to come together in this. And I think it's really powerful to have that meeting and align with each other. But yes, in 4 hours is actually really tight timing. Oh, go, Paul.
May I request coffee for that one? I'm not joking. I'm serious. Coffee for the 4-hour one?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you. I wish I was joking. I'm really not. I'm being serious.
Okay.
Smiling.
Since we're ending 25 minutes early, can we add that to the 4 hours? See what they say.
So Eric just mentioned that since we're ending about 25 minutes early, can we add that to the 4 hours? It's a joke. It's a joke. But that's why we wanted to do these 2 subcommittees. There's just no way we can get vision, mission, and comp plan and the goals and objectives in 4 hours. There's no way. So with some of this pre-subcommittee work, I think we can do it.
That's 4 to 8 on the 22nd?
Yes, let me just double check on that for everybody's sake. I believe so. Yes, 4 to 8. All right, that's all I had for everybody. So thank you for being really efficient and effective tonight. And if we move that fast, we could end another half hour earlier on the 22nd, too.
All right, anything else? We got a few agenda items. Request for future agenda items. Do we have anything for agenda items? Announcements and correspondence. Ken, no announcement?
I'm just, the county directories are in and printed. They're in your mailbox. So just open the door. If you can't get in, I'll open it up for you. Get your mail out of the mailroom.
All right. We've completed our agenda, so our rules adjourned. And again, our next meeting is June 22nd, 4 to 8, with coffee.